Have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror, not the superficial glance we give ourselves in the morning, but really looked and wondered if there's something ancient, something otherworldly dwelling behind your eyes? That question, that whisper in your soul, is not your imagination. It's the call of the chosen. And if you've ever felt like you don't truly belong in the noise of this modern world, like you're meant for something greater, something spiritual, cosmic even, then you're already awakening to a truth that most people will never comprehend. You are not ordinary. You never were. And deep inside you, across all lifetimes, all dimensions, all realities, you carry 7 powers. Not gifts. Nuttelan. Powers, and they are sacred. I want to take you on a journey today, a journey into the unseen, the eternal, and the divine. But this isn't just another video about spirituality. No, this is a revelation. And if you stay with me, you're going to remember who you are. Not learn, remember. Because the truth is, we've all forgotten. We've been born into a world that celebrates distraction and drowns our spiritual instincts in the shallow waters of instant gratification. But the chosen ones, you hear something deeper, a frequency beneath the chaos. It's not music, yet it moves your soul. It's not light, yet it illuminates your path. The first power every chosen one carries is divine perception. This is not simply intuition. It's a multidimensional awareness that pierces through illusions. Have you noticed how you can walk into a room and instantly feel the energy? How you can sense when someone is hurting, even when they smile? How your dreams seem less like fantasies and more like messages? That's not coincidence. That's perception sharpened by lifetimes of spiritual refinement. You are a cosmic receiver tuned into frequencies that most people will never even know exist. You're not just seeing the world, you're feeling its soul. And this power, when honed, becomes your compass. It guides you through dimensions, relationships, decisions, and even your darkest nights. But with that perception comes the second power, empathic transmutation. This one is tricky, because while others go about their lives ignoring the suffering of the world, you feel it, you carry it, you absorb it without knowing why. And that can break you if you don't understand it. But here's the truth. You were never meant to carry pain for the sake of suffering. You were meant to transmute it. You are the alchemist of emotion. The chosen ones are not just sensitive, they are spiritual chemists, transforming dense energy into light. When you cry for the world, you're not weak, you're healing it. When you sit with someone in silence and they feel better just because of your presence, that's not random. That's your energy doing its sacred work. You are a portal for divine compassion. But let me ask you something. When was the last time you allowed yourself to feel deeply without judgment? When was the last time you owned your sensitivity as your strength? Now, let's talk about the third power, and this one might shake you a little. Dimensional memory. Have you ever walked into a place you've never been and felt like you've been there 1,000 times? Or met someone for the first time and felt an ancient, unexplainable connection? That's because the chosen ones carry memory across timelines. You are not just a body walking this earth, you are a multidimensional being with access to wisdom from past lives, future realms, parallel realities. And these memories come to you in fragments, déjà vu, dreams, sudden emotional reactions, creative insights that seem to come from nowhere. They're not hallucinations. They're echoes of your soul's eternal journey. And the more you awaken, the more these memories surface, not to confuse you, but to prepare you. Because there is knowledge locked in your spiritual DNA that this world desperately needs. So I ask you, what if your strangest memories are actually your most sacred truths? Sometimes we doubt ourselves because we don't see our powers reflected in others. We think, why am I so different? Why do I feel so much? Why do I care so deeply about things no one else seems to notice? But that difference, that sensitivity, that perception, that yearning for something more is your proof. You are not here to fit into the world. You are here to shift it. And that brings us to the fourth power, energetic sovereignty. This is the power that lets you stand in the center of chaos and not be moved. It's what allows you to protect your peace in a world that profits from your distraction. Energetic sovereignty means you do not let the world dictate your vibration, you choose it. You claim it. You own it. And that is radical, because the moment you refuse to be manipulated by fear, trends, opinions, or trauma, you become ungovernable. You become a lighthouse, not because you shine brighter than others, but because you remember how to shine when others forget. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. You are not better. You are awake. And when you learn to master your energy, you stop being a sponge and become a sun. You radiate. And that changes everything. But let's not pretend this is easy. Every chosen one faces the dark night of the soul. That's not just a poetic phrase, it's a spiritual crucible. It's the moment when everything falls apart so that everything real can emerge. If you're in that space right now, I want to tell you something deeply personal. You are not broken. You are being broken open. And that pain you feel, that confusion, that isolation, that sense that no one sees you, that is the sacred fire burning away everything that is not you. So don't run from it. Sit in it, breathe through it, and trust that something ancient, something divine, is being reborn in the ashes. You see, the chosen one doesn't just live in this dimension. We walk between worlds. We exist in dreams and visions and moments of stillness. We are the keepers of wisdom older than language. And yet, we are here in human form not to escape it, but to embody it. To show the world what it looks like when the divine walks with bare feet and open hands. When eternity wears a heartbeat.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
So the question becomes, are you ready to remember who you are? Not who the world told you to be. Not who your past tries to define you as, but the real you, the you that existed before birth and will exist long after this body returns to dust. That version of you is waiting beneath the surface. And the 7 powers are your map back home. We've only touched on 4 of them so far, and already I know something inside you is stirring. That's not entertainment. That's activation. That's your soul saying yes. I remember. This is me. But there's more. So much more. The final 3 powers, they go even deeper. They are the key to your transformation, not just as an individual, but as a conduit for divine evolution across dimensions. There comes a moment in every chosen one's journey when silence becomes louder than noise, when stillness becomes a battlefield, and when presence becomes power. This is the moment where the soul draws its sword not to fight others, but to cut away everything false. The illusions, the masks, the fear. The 5th power you carry is this: truth as a weapon. Not truth as in facts or opinions or temporary beliefs, but truth with a capital T, the kind that vibrates through your bones when you hear it. The kind that cannot be spoken, only felt. You were born not just to speak truth, but to embody it. And this is terrifying to the systems built on lies. That's why you've been challenged your whole life. Why you felt misunderstood, dismissed, even betrayed by those closest to you. Because when you walk into a room, your energy exposes. It reveals where people are out of alignment, not to shame them, but to invite them to remember who they really are. But not everyone is ready to remember. So they resist you. They label you. They try to dim you. So the question becomes, are you ready to remember who you are? Not who the world told you to be. Not who your past tries to define you as, but the real you, the you that existed before birth and will exist long after this body returns to dust. That version of you is waiting beneath the surface. And the 7 powers are your map back home. We've only touched on 4 of them so far, and already I know something inside you is stirring. That's not entertainment. That's activation. That's your soul saying yes. I remember. This is me. But there's more. So much more. The final 3 powers, they go even deeper. They are the key to your transformation, not just as an individual, but as a conduit for divine evolution across dimensions. There comes a moment in every chosen one's journey when silence becomes louder than noise, when stillness becomes a battlefield, and when presence becomes power. This is the moment where the soul draws its sword not to fight others, but to cut away everything false. The illusions, the masks, the fear. The fifth power you carry is this: truth as a weapon. Not truth as in facts or opinions or temporary beliefs, but truth with a capital T, the kind that vibrates through your bones when you hear it. The kind that cannot be spoken, only felt. You were born not just to speak truth, but to embody it. And this is terrifying to the systems built on lies. That's why you've been challenged your whole life. Why you felt misunderstood, dismissed, even betrayed by those closest to you. Because when you walk into a room, your energy exposes. It reveals where people are out of alignment, not to shame them, but to invite them to remember who they really are. But not everyone is ready to remember. So they resist you. They label you. They try to dim you. But let me tell you something most people will never say out loud. Your truth is sacred, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's lonely, even when it costs you relationships, jobs, comfort. The chosen ones are not chosen because life is easier for them, it's harder, because they are tasked not with pleasing the world, but with awakening it. And awakening is messy. It's disruptive, but it is necessary. When you wield the sword of truth, you don't just protect your energy, you protect the collective soul. You become a mirror so sharp, it can cut through illusion just by existing. So I ask you, what truth have you been afraid to live out loud? And more importantly, who could you become if you finally did? The sixth power is so subtle, most never recognize its magnitude. It is divine timing mastery. This is the ability to flow with the rhythm of the universe, to move in harmony with unseen forces. While the world chases speed, chosen ones understand alignment. They know not to force what isn't meant. They sense when to act, when to wait, when to speak, and when to remain silent. This isn't laziness, it's precision. It's the art of co-creating with the divine, and it requires trust, deep, surrendering trust in a power greater than logic. How many times have you been delayed only to realize later that it was protection? How many times has something not worked out, only to make room for something far more aligned? These are not accidents. These are signs that you are being guided by something infinite. But here's the challenge. Divine timing rarely matches ego timing. Your human self wants answers, deadlines, guarantees. But your soul, it wants evolution. It wants to become, and that becoming happens in the space between what you want and what you're ready for. So if you're waiting right now, if the door hasn't opened, if the love hasn't arrived, if the purpose still feels blurry, don't panic. Don't force. Align. Prepare. Refine. Because when the moment comes, and it will come, you must be ready not just to receive the blessing, but to hold it. And that's what divine timing teaches you. Strength in stillness, patience as power, surrender as strategy. And now we arrive at the seventh and most mysterious of all powers, interdimensional influence. This is not fantasy. This is your ultimate reality. Chosen ones are not confined to this physical realm. Your energy, your consciousness, your very presence ripples across dimensions. When you meditate, you are not just sitting in silence, you are opening portals. When you speak from your soul, you are echoing through timelines. When you heal yourself, you are healing your ancestors and descendants all at once. You are a node in the cosmic web, and your vibration affects more than just your life, it affects existence itself. That's why your awakening matters. That's why your pain was so intense, because it had to break the shell of limitation around you. And now you see, you were never just one being. You are a congregation of lifetimes, a traveler between realms. And your evolution is not just personal, it is universal. This is the secret the world hides from you, that you are more powerful than you've ever been told, that your presence here is not random, that your sensitivity, your depth, your strange dreams and inner knowing, all of it, is proof that you are remembering. So don't run from it. Don't numb it. Don't shrink yourself to fit into a world that was never built for your magnitude. Instead, ask yourself, what if everything you've been through, every heartbreak, every betrayal, every night you cried out for meaning was preparing you for this moment? What if you're not broken, but breaking through? What if your power isn't something you need to find, but something you need to unleash? You carry 7 powers across all dimensions, and now they are waking up. There is a kind of loneliness that no one talks about. Not the loneliness of being unloved or unseen, but the loneliness of carrying ancient light in a world that has forgotten its soul. When you are a chosen one, you live in 2 realities at once. You walk among people, but your spirit stands in realms they cannot perceive. You engage in daily life, but your heart is always listening for echoes from beyond the veil. And this dual existence, it's not a glitch. It's your sacred assignment. To live as a chosen one in a sleeping world is to constantly navigate paradox. You feel everything deeply, yet you must often pretend you don't. You see through the masks people wear, yet you must learn not to rip them off before they are ready. You know what's coming energetically, spiritually, but you're asked to be patient while others catch up. This is the hidden burden of awakening. It's not about superiority. It's about responsibility. You are not better than others, you are simply earlier. You remembered first. And now your presence becomes a lighthouse for those still lost in the fog. But here's the pain no one prepares you for: the rejection. Because when you carry light, you trigger shadows in others. Not because you mean to, but because your very being confronts everything they've buried. And some will hate you for it. Some will leave. Some will call you delusional, too intense, too sensitive. But deep down, they sense it too. They feel the truth trembling in your words, in your silence, in your energy. And that's why you can't dim down to make others comfortable. You weren't born to blend in. You were born to wake up the world. And you can't do that by pretending to be asleep. So how do we live this path practically, powerfully, without losing ourselves? We begin by owning our frequency. The world is noisy, chaotic, full of static. But your energy is your sanctuary. Guard it like it's sacred, because it is. That means saying no to people, places, and patterns that deplete you. It means trusting your gut when something feels off, even if everyone else says it's fine. It means choosing solitude over fake connection, silence over meaningless chatter, intuition over logic when the soul speaks. This is how chosen ones stay aligned in a misaligned world, by refusing to betray themselves. But we are not meant to isolate forever. The chosen path is not about escaping humanity, it's about elevating it. And that begins with embodying your truth, not preaching it, living it. Every act of authenticity becomes a ripple. Every time you choose love over fear, presence over distraction, depth over performance, you send a signal to the grid. You light up a node in the universal matrix. You remind others, without words, that there is another way to exist, a way that is real, raw, radiant. And yes, there will be days when you question it all, when the weight feels too heavy, when the world feels too lost. On those days, return to the breath, return to the now, because the now is holy. It is the only place where truth lives. And in that stillness, remember, you are not alone. There are others like you, scattered across the planet like stars across the night sky. We may not always see each other, but we are connected, through time, through space, through soul. Let me ask you something deeply personal. What would your life look like if you fully trusted your power? Not just believed in it, but embodied it, spoke from it, created from it, loved from it. That version of you, that higher self, is not far away. It's just on the other side of your next courageous choice. This is what it means to walk between worlds. To hold space for the old to die and the new to be born. To be a bridge between dimensions. A living reminder that the divine is not some faraway concept, but a force that breathes through you as you. There comes a moment in every chosen one's journey when the search ends, not because the questions are gone, but because we finally realize we are the answer we've been chasing across lifetimes. The longing, the ache, the endless seeking, it all leads to one final revelation. You are the flame, not the seeker of light, but the light itself. And when that truth ignites inside you, you stop trying to escape the world and start embodying your power within it. That's when the final transformation begins. You don't just carry the 7 powers, you become them. You become the living portal, the bridge, the interdimensional voice that echoes across realities. It's not about becoming some enlightened, perfect figure floating above the world. It's about becoming fully human in the most divine way. It means crying deeply, laughing freely, forgiving completely, and standing in the fire without flinching because you know who you are. You've walked through lifetimes of forgetting just to arrive at this moment of remembering. And now, you don't just visit higher frequencies, you live in them. You infuse them into conversations, creativity, relationships, and even your silence. You become a walking activation. Others feel it, even if they don't understand it. They feel different after being around you. Not because you tried to change them, but because you anchored a new reality in your presence. And this is the secret. The final flame isn't about doing more. It's about being more. Being more present, more authentic, more surrendered to the vast intelligence flowing through you. When you stop resisting your soul's truth, life stops resisting you. Synchronicities increase. Manifestations accelerate. People and opportunities align without force. Because now, you're not chasing your destiny, you are your destiny unfolding in real time. You've become the portal through which your higher self pours into the world. And every breath becomes sacred. But becoming this portal comes with one final sacred choice. Will you live your truth without apology? Not just when it's convenient or easy or praised, but when it's misunderstood, ridiculed, or even feared. That's the real initiation. Can you walk in light when the world is still in shadow? Can you hold your vibration when others try to pull you into old patterns? Can you love without agenda, speak with fierce compassion, and stay rooted when storms rage around you? Because you will be tested. Not because the universe wants to break you, but because you were born to build something new. And the foundation must be unshakable. You didn't come here to repeat the past. You came to rewrite the story for yourself, your lineage, and the collective. That's why your trauma was so deep. That's why your awakening was so violent. You were clearing lifetimes of density to become something sacred. A soul on fire for truth, walking fully awake in a half-sleeping world. And now it's time. Time to stop hiding. Time to stop waiting for permission. Time to stand in the center of your storm and shine anyway. Because the truth is, you're not becoming powerful, you already are. You're not becoming spiritual, you always were. This journey was never about finding something outside of you. It was about remembering what was always within. So here's the final question I leave you with, the one that echoes through every lifetime, every realm, every breath your soul has ever taken. What kind of world could exist if you fully became who you were born to be? That's not a metaphor. That's a mission. And the time is now. You are the chosen one. You always have been. No reason. And let the flame burn brighter than ever before.